Okay, I'm very excited to be here with an author whose book has excited me very deeply, and as it's been a type of enlightenment and initiation for me. Reading Nechama Sarah's book, Princess of Dan, and how are you today, Nechama Sarah?
Thank God, and I'm very happy to be with you. I feel a very strong soul connection from the moment we spoke on the phone.
So do I.
And I'm very happy that you really are connecting with my works in a very deep way, and that makes me feel part of the universe.
Well, you have such a fascinating life story, and you're into such powerful material right now, it's hard to know where to begin. Mm-hmm. But let's talk a little bit about your book. Maybe you could hold it up for the audience, The Princess of Dan. Okay, that's an intriguing name, The Princess of Dan. What is this book about? What is that name connected to?
Well, we're all princes and princesses. We come from royalty.
We're children of the one God.
We're children of the one God.
And if that doesn't make us princes and princesses, I don't know what does.
Right. And when we go back to our source, there's 12 core princes and princesses of 12 tribes. 12
tribes.
Yes.
The 12 tribes that people talk about all over the world. This is something that resonates. You have the Welsh, who believe that they're from the 12 tribes, and you have the Danish, from the tribe of Dan. This is something that many people around the world resonate with, and why is that? What's that about?
Well, if you study my first book, The 12 Dimensions of Israel,
which I haven't read yet,
which you, God willing, will. According to the Kabbalah, to really understand the whole secret of creation and how Israel is connected with that secret, we go back into the story of creation and the significance of the number 12, and how that the 12 tribes kind of branch out from this core idea of 12.
Which you see everywhere in our world today. 12 hours on the clock, 12 months in the year.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot, the calendar, 12, well, I said that. There are a lot of 12s wherever you look. Right. Yes.
So, for me, I traveled the world, right? And I was always looking for spirituality and connection. And when I came to Israel and I discovered that there was these 12 tribes, it totally blew me away. And I went very deeply into the sources of our ancient teachings. There's even a midrash that says that Adam, the first man, and Eve, the first woman, were supposed to have 12 children.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
But what happened was Cain killed Abel.
Yes.
And he didn't marry it. Not until there was a sifting out through the spiritual genes, when we came to Abraham, Yitzhak, then Yaakov was the perfection. He was a reflection of Adam before the sin.
Yes.
Then there was this merit to bring the 12 down into the world.
Now that's interesting, the way you phrase that. To bring the 12 into the world, as if this archetypal energy of 12 tribes existed even before, but it wasn't brought into the earth yet.
Right.
And that interests me because it connects with some beliefs of mine. Okay.
Right. So that's what the part of the important idea of how we are partners in creation. Because to bring the 12 down into this world, again, I talked to you about the cube before.
Maybe talk to all of us about the cube.
Okay, so let's talk to all of you about the cube. According to the Kabbalah, there's a very archetypal shape that we can understand so much about our universe through this shape. Everything we can understand in the created world can be understood in relationship to the cube. We all live in squares. We live in houses.
Indeed.
Right?
Yes.
We live in a this lower world. Like there's according to Kabbalah, there's Asiya, Yitzira, Bria, and Tzilut, the world of action, formation, creation, and emanation, and then there's worlds beyond that. But when we're mostly as created beings in bodies in the physical world. Now, even our bodies have an up and a down and a right and a left, a front and a back.
Yes.
So we can even like see ourselves in our soul in this body as an archetypal cube.
Or a rectangle, but yes,
right,
absolutely.
Right, but just as a general shape.
Yes.
Now, what the Kabbalah brings out, which has fascinated me and inspired me to keep writing and searching, is that there's 12 lines to the cube. Like there's 12 edges. So these edges are spiritual pipes through which God's one infinite light, there's only one God.
Indeed.
Above, beyond corporal understanding. There's no corporal shape. There's no thought of ours that can really grasp God. We talk in metaphors. We talk in anthropomorphic metaphors.
Anthropomorphic. Yeah.
Anthropomorphic. That's the word. And so this incredible, infinite Ein Sof energy.
Ein Sof means no end.
Right. No end.
It's one of the Hebrew names for God.
Right.
Yes.
Right. This energy, we're here to bring it down into the world. This is why we came down. There's a whole history of why the world is the way it is. That's a whole other understanding. But we're here in a place where God is hidden, and we're here to reveal the light.
Yes.
It sounds very simple, and it gets very complicated, but that's what we're here to do. So it's not always so simple to do that, because we have to find the pure light. We don't want to get confused. The higher worlds are filled with different beings and angels, but we want to get to the source, which is beyond any angel, beyond any being.
Indeed.
And that source light can come through and be brought down in many ways, which the Torah is a guide to how to bring that in.
Indeed.
And metaphysically, each 12 line is connected to the many categories of 12 that exist in the Torah. Begin with 12 tribes.
Okay.
Then each tribe is parallel to a month, and each month is there's parallel to a different sephirot. There's 10 sephirot, but there's 3 levels of crown, so that makes it 12.
So, what is a sephirot? I know it's connected. What the Hindus call a chakra. The Hebrew, the Jews talk about sephirot. How would you describe what they are, where they are, and what they do?
The sephirot. First of all, we have to understand God is one.
God is one,
and nothing changes in the perception from God's perspective. But if we imagine as a metaphor, or a mashal, we say in Hebrew, there's one light.
Yes.
And it goes through different prisms.
Yes.
And we experience the light with many different colors and attributes. So this is kind of like my little chart of the sephirot.
This is the tree of life. Is this not the tree of life?
It's also connected and considered the tree of life. There's a lot of terms that overlap.
Okay.
And so we experience God in different ways down here. But it's always important not to separate one sphere from another and say, and worship, God forbid, or separate from God's oneness. And sometimes we experience God's judgment. Rosh Hashanah is the day of judgment.
Yes.
Or we just, in our lives, we experience that. Sometimes we experience mercy and chesed and loving kindness. And those are the revealed wonderful things that happen to us. We always have to remember everything is ultimately in the source good. Mm-hmm. Even when we experience the hardships we experience, it's all for the good of our soul.
Yes.
Because that's really who we are, is our soul.
Yes.
So anyway, back to the cube. So the more...
wait a second. Going back to those sephirot, people say that those are the sephirot around the human body, correct?
The sephirot are reflected in the human body. Like the right arm is chesed, the left arm is gevura.
Yes.
I mean, it's all reflected in the human body, yes.
Okay.
Because God is one and we're made in God's image.
Indeed.
Now, well, I just lost my train of thought.
About the cubes again?
Okay, so the more we all of us, like, especially as biological Jews, the Jewish people, Israel.
Yes.
Although everybody is challenged to find the relationship to Israel, there's a lot of conversion happening now. People's choice, and we don't proselytize. It's if that light speaks to people and they feel it's time for them to explore the Torah, and it resonates as being a source teaching, which I have found,
yes,
and which I've been happy to return to that source teaching. It's clarified my whole perception of everything, of reality, by seeing it as its source, and that's why I delved so deeply into the teachings. And the tribes are really the 12 tribes of Israel, from the sons of Jacob, and also their wives, are, to understand them, we get into a very core place and connection with God. And this to me is very healing. Like, my experience of this is healing. So this rings true for me because I see the effect it has in my life.
The effect of what? The effect of knowing what the tribes are? It's healing for you because these 12 archetypes are inside.
They're inside,
you.
That's right. And inside of all
me.
of us. Yeah.
And I would say inside every human being, but very well.
Yeah,
Okay.
they are inside every human being in different ways, but it's really important to interact with the source idea of the 12 so that it's purified. You know, for instance, let's talk about the snake of Don. That's what you first approached me after
Yes.
reading the book, and I had shared in my book, and you shared your experience of this inner snake. Now, why isn't like mainstream Judaism talk about these things so much? Because it can be very gray area where it can become very iffy to understand it in the right way, to not make it an idol worship element. Okay.
I just want to clarify for our audience.
Okay.
Dan is one of the 12 tribes.
Right.
The word in Hebrew, Dan, means judge.
Right.
And Jacob, on his deathbed, I guess, when he was blessing his 12 sons, is that right? Was it at that time?
Yeah.
The most powerful moment for a parent to bless a child, when he was blessing his 12 sons and his daughter, I guess she got blessed too,
Mm-hmm.
Dina, that's also connected, I guess, to judgment. He said that Dan, what did he say about Dan? I think maybe you know.
Dan nachash ala derech, like he'll be like a snake on the way.
A snake on the way.
Yeah, so this image or this archetype of animals appears in all of the blessings of all the tribes. And what I understood from my studying, my meditations, is that, when someone on the level of Yaakov Avinu, of Jacob, who was really on the level of Adam before the sin, every word he says is like totally powerful.
Yes.
And transforming.
Especially on a deathbed blessing.
Right.
What could be more powerful?
So this is something that is in our soul.
In my opinion, yes.
Totally. And so I started connecting with, when I was doing a 40-day retreat right near the kever, the grave site of Dan, the son of Jacob. And by the way, I wanted to say something. Dan is the tribe of judges, right? So
yes.
Dan. So back to the cube. When the world becomes rectified with the right tzedek and mishpat, righteousness, and the true judgment, that
yes.
there's true judgment in the world, that people don't get away with murder, things like that. Like when true judgment, when divine judgment is restored, then that pipeline of Dan, the light, the infinite Ein Sof, that line comes through and degenerates and enlivens this world, and transforms this world. So we're not in this cube separated from the higher worlds. Things are going to be transformed when the final redemption comes. There's going to be transformation of the reality that we see it. Nobody really understands exactly how that's going to be. We're still in the box,
Yes.
But we're trying to draw this energy down.
Yes.
So one way of doing it, is like strengthening that line in the cube.
Okay.
Of Don, which is connected with Don. So the more we
of
judgment, that the more
Okay.
we are righteous in our own lives, and that the true Torah-based court systems are restored to the land. I have a picture about when the land and the true law, the halachot of our books, come into real action in this world.
Nechama Sarah, friends, is an amazing artist. I'm sorry we don't have that picture ready.
Which one?
The one you're talking about right now.
Oh, that big one. Yeah, I don't have that in big form,
Okay.
but we can show other ones.
Okay, we will.
Yeah. So that the more we cultivate the tribes within us, and as a nation and as a collective humanity,
Yes.
then the world will start doing what it needs to do, and redemption will come. This is what we're all waiting for: the end of suffering, the end of war, the end of hatred, and humanity will become in harmony again.
Indeed.
And that's where we all, in the deepest places in ourselves, that's what we all want. But everybody's trying in different ways how to, how are we going to get there? So the Torah guides us in how we get there, and is bringing the deepest secrets of the Kabbalah, the hidden secrets that were only very exclusive way back in history to small groups of people. Very limited sages, and now it's spreading out, and the more we expand our consciousness with these teachings, the more we will be vessels to God loves us. He doesn't want us to crack when there's too much light.
No.
So every time we get a makkah, every time we get a hit, a punishment in our lives, it's really from love. It's to help us expand, so that we start thinking of our lives and why we're here in a different way. And so this whole, but we can avoid a lot of suffering by learning rather than going through the University of Hard Knocks.
You bet.
Yeah. So it's just the more we cultivate. Okay, so back to Don. Okay, so he was one
of the sons.
One of the sons and one of those lines. Okay, back to the Kabbalistic model.
Okay.
That light, of infinite light penetrating into this world in detailed ways in our court systems.
Yes.
In justice.
Or in discernment, just the ability to discern things as we go through life.
Discernment, because this is one of the reasons why the Princess of Don came into being, and when I kept repeatedly going and praying by the gravesite of Don, I saw my inner discretion became so clear, like all the fog and confusion of my life that I had tripped through. All of a sudden I started understanding why and what the relationships I went through were really about, and what I needed to do, and how to come to an understanding about them, and to go further into the future, into my life, freed from the negativity of that past. And so this again, we're cultivating within and without. So what happened after I was finishing the first book, I had this incredible opening about Don, and I asked my teacher Rav Ginsburg, what do I do with it? What do I do with this opening that I really feel so almost like my friend from the tribe of Don? What's this about? And he advised me to start praying at the
gravesite
of Don.
Yeah, I want to start doing that as well.
Your fellow tribesman.
And so Don, Jacob said of his son, and Don is a snake by the wayside, or a serpent, or snake by the wayside. In other words, he's guarding by the wayside. He's guarding the roads. Don was connected to the northern border very much.
He had two nachalot, two land inheritances, one in the north and one where I live now.
Okay.
And
so that his job was a guardian for the border, at least the northern part.
I usually think more of Gad as being the guardian of borders, the tribe of Gad.
Another tribe, Gad.
Yeah.
All right.
But the snake of Dan, which appeared in this inner vision. Your inner vision. In my inner vision.
Yes.
It was like this clear intuition that had been buried my whole life. And, because we get brainwashed by the philosophies we are brought up with. It's good to love everybody, for sure, but
you grew up in the 1960s in America.
Right.
Yes.
That's 1960. Love everybody, but my snake was buried.
Yes.
Like who do I let into my life, in which measure, in which way, and you need discernment to be a fruitful, healthy person in this world.
You betcha. You bet. And by the way, you're also an anthropologist. You're a cultural anthropologist.
I don't.
Phi Beta Kappa. What's part of your background?
Yeah, I'm very grateful I have the opportunity to learn and have my eyes open to different cultures at a young age.
And you traveled the world?
I traveled the world. And when I came home to Israel, it was such an awakening for me. It was so powerful that I realized I'm not a Greek and I'm not an Afghani, but I'm a Jewess.
Okay.
And then I realized how deep that responsibility was, because as Israel has a special mission in this world.
Okay.
And because we have the book, we have the teachings from Adam Rishon on down.
Okay.
And I know that other disciplines claim they have ancient teachings, and they do.
And they do.
And they do. What I discovered is to get to a pure source of how to really connect with the source, with Hashem, with God, the one God. It was through the Torah.
Okay.
And this connection is a very delicate one, because there's so many supernal worlds and so many supernal beings, and we can kind of get tripped up on the way up or in the way within, and where there are other beings and souls and that can communicate with us, it's very important that we don't make them like an idol. And that's a very human tendency.
Okay.
Because God is a very abstract concept. God is
the dough. There's nothing but God.
Yeah. So even just to meditate on that, it's beyond the confines of our intellect and our brain.
Yeah.
So if we're going to leave the confines of our intellect, we want to make sure we're guided in the right way, and we don't because there's a lot of things happening on those higher worlds. There's a lot of darkness too, not just down here, but up there too. And we want to go straight to the light, and the Torah is the guide to do that, because it gives you instructions on everything. What to do, what blessing to say to elevate this water so that it elevates your consciousness when you drink it.
Indeed.
Every detail of life, and it's a fascinating dance. The more you learn, the more freer you are. It's not a burden to know these things. It's a freedom, but it's a discipline also, because we're not here to just we weren't born into the Garden of Eden with we want to get back there. So we have this. We're in the world of tikkun, olam tikkun,
which means
rectification. Our souls have come to this world to make reparation and rectification, because we're not in a perfect world.
No.
We were, but we blew it. Whatever happened, that's a long story.
We can discuss this fluid concept.
That can take.
I won't agree with you on the fluid concept.
No,
I think God needed our souls needed. God needed this experience.
No, that's totally true too. What I love about the Torah is that Eila be'eila divrei Elokim hayim.
Which means
these are the words of God. In order to really understand the highest levels, we have to embrace paradox.
Yes, absolutely.
And so we can't say, well, no, it's that way. It's that way. Yeah, we blew it, but no, we didn't blow it. It was meant to be, but we blew it.
Yes.
And that, when we can really embrace both of that, then we can start talking about the relationship with God in higher levels.
Okay.
So that's the beauty of this dialogue and this journey.
Yes.
Because it's like totally expansive.
Now, when you say that, when you talk about the mission of Israel, which is a phrase I would agree with, it's not about better than. It's not saying that other peoples and other faiths and other sacred books don't have missions as well.
No.
But the Jewish people have and the 12 tribes have a specific mission.
Really, this is addressed in this book.
Israel and the 7 dimensions of the world. Tell me about this book.
It's a Kabbalist approach to an eternally enduring world peace.
Okay.
And it's based on the teachings of the Arizal.
The Ari means lion, doesn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's the great Kabbalist.
The great Kabbalist who lived...
15?
12? No, 15 maybe, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't matter. It's not important. It's not a test. The Ari, which means the lion, he was the great Kabbalist, maybe since the author of the Zohar.
Yeah. There was the Ramak also.
Yes.
But
certainly one of the great masters. Mm-hmm. Yes, okay. So, according to the Arizal, we've been through 7 major exiles. Okay.
Now, they correspond to different sephirot.
Do you mean that do you mean the Jewish people? Or the tribe of Israel? Or?
Well, the thing is, when Jews go into exile, everybody goes into exile. Mm-hmm. Because we're all one. We're all connected.
Yes, in my opinion, yes.
And Yisrael, the word Yisrael means Yashar with God.
Straight with God, straight to God.
Right. And
it was the blessing given to Jacob after Jacob...
By Esav.
Ma?
Esav gave him that blessing.
I thought the angel gave him that blessing. Doesn't he wrestle an angel? And then...
What's the angel of Esav?
What?
It's the angel of Esav.
Okay, I don't know that tradition. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he wrestles an angel all night long and the sun is coming. Right? Mm-hmm. You must know the story better than me. And Jacob is doing pretty well, though he's getting exhausted. And the sun is coming, and the angel says, "The sun is rising, I must go." How does the story go? Maybe you can say it?
I don't want to make any mistakes.
Don't worry about it. Nobody's perfect here. This is
no, but the point I really did want to make...
And he says, "I won't let you go unless you tell me your name." And then at a certain point, he gives Jacob his name. And then he says again, "I won't let you go unless you bless me." And when he says, "I won't let you go unless you bless me," he says, "From now on you will no longer be called Jacob. You will be called Yisrael." At least something like that.
Right. Which means straight with
straight
God.
to God.
Right. And so the gematria of Yisrael is the same gematria. I don't know exactly what form of gematria, but there's a correlation.
How about saying what gematria is?
Gematria is numerical values. There's when you take one word and you take other word or words, there's an equivalence. They have a connection because they have the same numerical value.
Because the letters are
each letter is connected to a number.
Each letter is a number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. There's different forms of gematrias, but anyway, so Yisrael is neshamat olam, meaning the soul of the world. So everybody has a relationship to the soul of the world. We're all souls and bodies, right?
Right.
So our challenge is to really understand what our true relationship is to Israel. If we're born Jewish, like go deeper, find out our tribe maybe, and go deeper. Or maybe going deeper into the avos and the imaot,
the fathers and the mothers,
the patriarchs and the matriarchs.
Yes, indeed.
And each person who could be from another, country, discipline, belief system, is challenged to purify and connect with Israel, so that everybody has something to offer. That actually in the second book, the cubes expand that cube of the 12 expands, again, Kabbalistically, and to understand it, the cube expands into a 72-lined, if you take a cube,
Yes.
say this is like a cube. So if you put another cube here, another cube there, another cube there, another cube there, then you have 72 lines.
Yes.
And so it's like, I call it like a cosmic diamond. It's like when everybody gets it together and we're all like connected with one God, then the cube will, right now there's a lot of disconnection. Like the cube is, the cosmic diamond, which is the cube expanded into many other cubes.
Yes.
There's a lot of harmony and
disharmony, out of balance.
Out of balance. But when it comes into this rectified whole place,
yes.
Actually, I have another diagram showing that. Then that's like a archetype. This is the.
It's pretty tiny.
Yeah, this one's tiny. Is this the camera?
Yeah, it's one of them.
It's like when all the cubes come together, meaning every line is a different archetypal nation, or if we use the word nation, people, genealogical branch of humanity. Let's put it like that. So when everybody lifts the sparks and finds the truth in their belief systems, we all have falseness, and we all have to keep reviewing what we believe and purifying ourselves. But when we all do that, we're going to all come together like this cosmic diamond.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's like a great, beautiful Kabbalistic model. And so our work here is to understand what the source is. Israel was given the gift of that source. It sounds very ethnocentric.
Yes, it does.
It does. And then I'm not...
And every other people and every other religion
say the same thing.
Believe the exact same thing.
Right. But the more you learn, if I was listening to me speak 40 years ago, I would throw an egg. I would. I was the most...
I believe you.
I was the biggest universalist. I went everywhere, Thailand, India, but my story is not different from many other stories. And The Princess of Dawn is about the 60s wanderer, the flower child, or all the different people coming back to Israel and realizing there's something very authentic in the Torah that cannot be just clumped in a general, universal category of spirituality, because the Torah has guidelines that and a moral system, not only just a moral system, but also a detailed system of how to treat every human being and every created being in the world with such sensitivity and dignity, and how to act in every moment to bring, to make what we're here to do, yichudim, to bring unifications, to bring light into this world, whether it's saying a bracha or it's doing a certain mitzvah.
A bracha is a blessing. And a mitzvah is like a commandment.
There's 613 commandments for a Jew.
Yes.
And they're connected to all the different sinus and gedins, vessels and sinus in the body. It's a very organic system. So there's certain mitzvahs, if you're ill in one place, to do that mitzvah will help heal that part of the body.
That's very interesting.
It's very organic. And the more the thing is, the more you learn, the more you go deeper into the Kabbalistic learning, then it's not you don't have to apologize for saying there's something different here. Just that it's like if you have a cake, you can make a cake, right?
Yes.
So an egg wants to be the egg, and the flour wants to be the flour. And it's okay, because if you're all being what you are, then together you can mix it and make the cake. But if the egg wants it saying, I want to be the main guy, I want to be the flour, or this is maybe not the best metaphor, but there's the Zohar.
The Zohar is the sacred book of the Kabbalah.
Yeah, it likens the Jewish people, the Israel, to the heart of the world, or sometimes the brain of the world. Okay, the liver is very important. you need everything.
you're not going far without a liver, that's
right,
for sure.
Right. Well, that's another thing that we want to discuss, that each of the 12 tribes in each of the 12 months they correspond to are connected with an ever, it's called in Kabbalah, which is it's the category that includes limbs and organs. Like Yehud is connected to the right leg.
Okay.
Dan is connected to the liver and the hush. There's 12 hushim senses, and he's connected with anger, but not he's connected with positive anger. It's a cosmic anger to discern,
a good judge's anger, to choose right from wrong.
Exactly.
Well, that's very interesting.
Yeah, so that's the liver energy. So this is, okay, so then you have Chinese medicine, and this, you can see so many amazing parallels to this, but there's something very core that if you know the core with the teachings, what the Kabbalah is bringing down, I think any person in any discipline can only benefit and become a better healer or better whoever they're meant to be by knowing this core information.
Indeed. It's interesting you use the word core information.
Source.
Our audience, they'll hear me talk about a spiritual, actually angelic entity, teacher named Cryon. And Cryon, today that you hear a lot about channeling. Well, Cryon is like this channeled angelic being. And he asks the question, it's not a he or she, but Cryon asks the questions. Where are the Jews in the house of humanity? Okay? And this is an angel with a sense of humor. Okay? So he says, so some Jews are going to say, oh, well, we must be at the top. Okay? Because we have the book and we have developed intellect, so the Jews must be at the top of the house. And then other people who are Jews might say, no, it must be the kitchen, because we love to eat, and there's so much good Jewish food. And so Cryon asks the question, where are the Jews in the house of humanity? And the final answer that he gives is the basement. Okay? The basement is the foundation. The foundation is like the core. And Cryon says, well, why are they the foundation or the basis or the foundation or the cellar? Because he says, as it goes for the Jews in the world, so it goes for the world. If the foundation is not is in trouble, the whole house is in trouble. And we see in Jewish history sometimes when the foundation is very, very, very threatened. We've seen this in recent history in Nazi Germany and the Holocaust. And there have been other times as well. The whole world is in trouble at these times because the whole balance of light and dark, these are the times when the dark seems to be swallowing the world. So I like Cryon's answer. He also talks about, he talks
to you directly?
No. Oh. This is a channeled website, which is very popular. Kryon. And there's many years of channelings and articles. And it's done by a man named Lee Carroll. And anyway, Lee Carroll knew very little about the Jews or the Hebrew language, but Cryon will often talk about the 12 layers of the DNA, and he'll give the Hebrew names for them. And he says it's because the Hebrew is like core language, and by hearing the Hebrew, and
the world was created through the Hebrew letters.
Well, apparently there's a lot to that, because whether it's the Keys of Enoch, which is an English book, but which is filled with Hebrew, or Cryon, who gives the 12 names of God connected to the 12 layers of the DNA in Hebrew. Apparently Hebrew is a very, very important thing. So anyway, talking about the role of the Jews in the world, I like the idea.
Well,
I like the idea of being the foundation, and I think there's something to it.
Yeah, and just you brought to mind that the fact is that when the Torah was given, it was given in 70 languages.
Okay, this is a midrash.
Yeah, it's a midrash.
Okay, which means what?
That it's inside every one of us.
Okay, just like the 12 tribes are inside
Right.
every one of us.
The 12 tribes are in the Torah. And we got in Abraham and Yitzhak and Yaakov,
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
yeah. I mean, these are our archetypal, in the collective unconscious. To be Jungian about it.
Yes.
It's really important that to heal, and for the world to heal and the earth to heal, we have to open up to those unconscious levels. The whole Torah is on the unconscious, and by learning it, we're connecting and we're becoming whole again. So we have to know what is lurking under there. Like the Torah is the light that's under there, and we want, the more we bring the Torah into consciousness, it's so the light flushes out the dark that's back there. There's a lot of dark in the unconscious too.
Indeed.
So the Torah is a light and it's a pure light. There is light in every discipline. There is mixture though, because that's just the nature of this world. We're not in redemption yet. We'll see just the light, and everything will transform. All the other teachings will transform and get to the core of the light, and how we can all go straight through all those 72 lines to Hashem, to God. But in the meantime, we need a guidance, and Israel is that basement, that foundation, and that beacon, and that light. And I think it's important that Israel does not feel apologetic for making that statement, because really the only way we can be that light is realizing that, the only way to become receptacles of the light is to be totally humble. It's a very important teaching, a Hasidic teaching. Rav Ginsburg brings down about Hashem Tov teachings, all Hasidic teachings. It's like, in order to be fulfilling our soul in this purpose in this world, it starts with shiflut. It starts with a sense of humbleness and loneliness and awe, that who are we to come here to be such messengers of such a light? But we can't do it with ego. And that's what, when we learn the teachings correctly and we're guided correctly, then we can bring the teachings down in a true, pure light, rather than an ego-mixed dark side coming into it. And it's really important, because everybody's groping for spirituality, and it's too easy to fall into avodah zarah, like back to the snake. We don't want to make...
Avodah zarah is a Hebrew expression for strange worship.
Oh yeah, idol worship, yeah.
Idol worship.
I mean, the whole idea of the snake coming out, I saw that was a very deep thing, and it was a very thing... I didn't talk about it for a long time. I can't believe I finally wrote about it.
What was the circumstance of that?
I was doing a lot of meditating, and I was hiking on the Holy Land near to the gravesite of Don, and I was praying every day, and it just emerged inside of me, and I saw it was like an ancient archetype of, from Yaakov Avinu's spoken word.
Indeed.
And the thing is, the nachash,
Yaakov Avinu meaning Jacob our father.
Jacob, sorry, our father.
It's okay.
The nachash is
the snake.
The snake is the same gematria, numerical value of Mashiach, Messiah.
I learned that from your book.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of connotations about snakes. The snake from the garden, and even just people go into the Kundalini. Like, you have to be careful how you relate to the symbol of snake.
Snake is multifaceted symbol.
It's a multifaceted
for the doctor's staff.
Right.
The staff.
Hippocrates.
Hippocrates. It's snakes wrapping around a staff. Right. Medicine, the symbol of ancient and modern medicine.
Right.
And wisdom.
Mm-hmm. So when we have that, any spiritual experience is a blessing. It's a gift. It's a divine gift.
I would say, especially that's a very strong one.
Yeah. So, and we have to guard it well and make sure it doesn't become something externalized or or out there, in the wrong way. So that's why I think God willing, we're becoming closer and closer. I think more and more people will either share or their these experiences that have been revealed to them and come out and share them, they will, more people will be actually experiencing it as we're coming closer to redemption. So I think we have to help each other. Like not, if I maybe had been in the wrong context, it might have been really scary for him. First, it was very jolting, but it was. Then I realized it was like I was opening up to a deep sense of my total instinct for survival. And I would meet someone.
Your intuition. My
intuition. Yeah, even deeper than that.
All right.
I would see someone, and if there was a good connection, my snake would just encircle the person. And if there was some warning, the snake would stand up and go, and I would just wow, I'd be watching the snake inside me, and nobody else would know what's going on with me. But this was what, and it was so helpful because I was so brainwashed that just love everybody and trust everybody, because I was very naive by growing up, and that was part of my personality, maybe being the third child, I don't know, and being the baby in the family, and then the 60s of loving and which is a very important thing, but we have to, again, we need the discretion of Don to bring the true light of love, light and love, and the gematria of Ahava, love, is the same gematria as Achad, one, and God is one, and we have to know how to bring that oneness, and which is the source of the true love. We can't really bring true love into this world unless we're connected to the true source and the oneness, and not get tripped up in the universes and the panoramas of angelic beings. I mean, they're all messengers, but we don't stop there. We have to go beyond that, right to the source, and that's really one of the most important messages of the Torah, that we all have to help each other to get to that source, because we all want to hang on to something in this world. It's just, sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's lonely. That's why people go to idol worship, even in different forms. It's a harsh word, but it's
when you mean idol worship, you mean in the broad sense.
In the broad sense, I mean,
whether
it's subtle or it's not subtle.
A football team or a soap opera or a soap opera. Or,
right. We all have this weakness, we want to hold on to something, but we have to help each other, to get, we're gonna all, the more this light comes through, the more we'll realize we are one soul on this one journey, and we each have these incredibly different stories and struggles, but your struggle is my struggle, and my struggle is yours.
Indeed.
And God will help us, have revealed good in the world. Everything is good, and that's our belief. It's a very strong Jewish belief that everything is for the good, and it's a lot of inner work to really believe that, because there's so much suffering, and it takes such inner work to really, and learning to just believe everything is for the good, and not in a naive way, but knowing deep down inside, God is running the world and God is only good. A lot of people lost that belief totally after the Holocaust, or people lose it. Either some people will suffer a personal tragedy, and either they'll become embittered or they'll become enlightened.
Yes.
And when one becomes enlightened from suffering, that's the truth. It's an amazing light that you can give to so many other people.
For sure.
Then you're fulfilled, because your soul is being fulfilled, and that's what you said was one of the messages here. It doesn't matter what it doesn't matter what the story is. It's it doesn't matter if you lost or won or what happened to you physically, emotionally in life. It's are you fulfilling your soul purpose here?
But the story of Princess Down is your story, is it not?
People know me personally. There's a lot of biographical material in there, but there's also I gathered from my friends, and I do spiritual therapy with people, so their stories are involved, and so it's good. We're all one collective soul.
Yeah.
So that.
Nechama Sarah. First of all, your name is so powerful. At least you have a long name. I'm not even going to go through the whole name, but Nechama Sarah, you were born with that name?
My parents gave me Nechama. I was named after my grandmother.
Okay.
Sarah, the rabbi, wrote on my birth certificate. My parents weren't even aware of it.
Oh, wow.
And I was advised by my Rebbe to keep that name, and I love that name.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very powerful.
Sarah, of course, the wife of Abraham, meaning princess.
Right.
Princess, by the way, Princess of Dan. And Nechama means lenachem. It means to comfort, right? Like, the male version of that name, I suppose, would be Menachem,
Okay.
the comforter of Zion. And Nechama is the female version. Is that correct?
Right. I have a third name which I don't use so much. It's Gila, because I was given the name Jill in English.
Yes.
And Rabbi Nachman of Breslov says you should always keep your names, or like just don't throw them out.
Yes.
So I went to the Nadborny Rebbe, who's my guide, like my spiritual Saba, grandfather, and Zikron Labracha. He was a big light in my world, in my life. And I discussed this with him. He said, well, he gave me the Hebrew version. He said, Gila.
Gila.
Which means joy.
Joy.
So the comforting princess of joy.
Oh, wow. But that's what your work does. Well, I read one book, mostly. That's what you're doing. Our names are so powerful.
Right.
We identify with our names.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, Eliyahu,
yes.
Eliyahu Nabi, the Maharal Prague says in Netzach Yisrael.
Elijah the prophet, yes.
Elijah the prophet is going to come and announce the Mashiach, coming of the Mashiach, and he's also going to tell each person from which tribe they're from.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah, isn't that something?
It is something. Okay. So when Jacob was dying and he blessed his sons, and he blessed Dan with this image of the serpent protecting the way, which is like a judge. That serpent decides who to let through and who not to let through.
And not so much on protecting the way, he's like a serpent on the way.
On the way.
Yeah, so it's like the ability to squirm through.
Okay.
To it's how to get from A to B in the right way, and to get through all the klipot and all the shells, all the husks in this world, just to know where to go and where to turn. That's the inner snake that I experienced. That to me that was my understanding of the blessing in a deeper way.
Okay, intuition.
Yeah, like actually, when there were times in my life that the inner snake was more prevalent, and I would go through a crowd. I would maybe go to Jerusalem, and I would be in a crowd, and I just would follow the snake, weave through the crowd. It would lead me.
Yes.
It was like this other sense that we lost in Gullus through the exile.
In the exile.
In the exiles, we're all in exile still. We're all struggling with the 7 major exiles, which you can learn about in this book, and this is my reconciliation with the exiles. And then as we're resolving these exiles, then there's the sphere of Yisod, which is foundation, and Malchut, which relate to Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David, the Messiah of Yosef and Messiah of David Melech.
One is a precursor to the other, correct? Mashiach Joseph is sort of a precursor for Mashiach ben David. Is that right?
I think they're pretty parallel, but I think Yosef is working more outside of Israel,
Okay.
And David Melech from the Mashiach.
David the king, or the descendant of King David.
Yeah. The descendant is will be in Israel and ruling, bring all the tribes, all the 12 tribes, all of us waking up from the sleep of exile and realizing who we are, and the incredible mission we have, the power we have to bring God's light into this world. We're all going to be gathering together, and when Israel and it's all connected to the teachings of the Torah and are in the land of Israel, it's going to create such an energetic light.
It is already.
It's starting to. It's starting, but it's too many, blank places. There's too many Jews out there who need to come and find their nachala, their place, Because the more that happens, the more powerful this centrifugal force will be for the universe.
This ingathering.
Yeah, we need the ingathering. But it's happening. It's happening now.
There is no precedent in human history for the modern state of Israel. There never has been a people that have been exiled from their land and that have come back after 2,000 years.
Right, it's amazing.
There's no precedent, and it's totally, completely unknown in human history, and it's exactly like the prophets from the Bible predict. Mm-hmm. So that's impressive.
It's a living Torah. It's a living. The prophecies are coming.
And the rebirth of the Hebrew language is also.
Right.
There's nothing like it in human history. Right. Hebrew for a long time was just a non-daily language. It wasn't a daily language. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a spoken language anymore. It was the language of the old books that the rabbis would use and understand and could read, but it wasn't a spoken language by a people. Mm-hmm. And there's a long story there about how it became. There was a man who started getting messages. I don't know if you know the story. No. It's Eliezer ben Yehuda.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
he was.
I didn't know how he got it.
God told Eliezer ben Yehuda to start to bring back the Hebrew language as a modern language, and as a spoken language.
It's beautiful. It's like I love to speak it.
Well, so do I. It's immensely powerful and coded and deep. So this man, he started only speaking Hebrew and people who surrounded him. And he had to invent a lot of words for the modern world because it had only been an ancient language. And he didn't invent them. He didn't exactly invent them. He followed the ancient roots, and he was guided to bring an ancient book language back into modern language. There's nothing like it in human history. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so there's something afoot here. I don't think it's any of this is coincidence. There is
nothing's coincidence.
There is this is a part of God's plan.
For sure.
And indeed, okay. This idea of the snake now. I would call that a totem. Okay, this might remind you of your anthropologist days. Mm-hmm. There are tribes, and I know a few American Indians who are my friends, and I've had close friends. Mm-hmm. And you'll have the eagle tribe and the bear tribe, and they are aligned. Another word for totem is power ally. Mm-hmm. Okay, and they have the abilities, and they're guided by the spirit of eagle, and these are sacred universal archetypes and beings.
Well, it's really it's interesting that they're connected to these unconscious archetypes, maybe more than a lot of people of Israel are. There has to be a dialogue of monotheism within the system. Problem is when we're all in exile, so very spiritual people can be in touch with these unconscious archetypes, but if they're not in touch with the core ancient teachings of the Torah and Kabbalah, then the totem becomes something externalized. It can become like a form of this idol worship.
Okay.
And that's why we need to all come together and help raise the sparks. It's amazing, that they have this communication, and a lot of us have shut it off. So
and we need it.
And we need it.
And we need it.
Exactly.
You need your snake. I need my snake.
Right. And I don't want to be afraid of it. I don't want to worry that it's gonna,
It's your power.
It's part of my power. Hashem's my power.
Okay.
That's the thing. It's all from everything's from Hashem, and we have to keep returning it because we're in Galus. Maybe that's in Exile. Maybe that's one of the reasons God is slowly revealing it to us, because it has to be in alignment with the deepest teachings. Otherwise, it becomes distorted. And so I think there's a lot to learn from American Indians, but they have a lot to learn from us.
Okay.
And that has to be recognized. It has to be a dialogue of what each one can offer.
Yes. A lot of American Indians, by the way, believe that they're a tribe of Israel, and a lot of my friend Shuki Ben Ami, a very interesting man, who lives in Jerusalem. He was brought up by a Hasidic father, and he knew, and the mother had converted into Judaism, and later it turns out that he didn't know it until he was an adult, that his mother was a Lakota Native American. And at a certain critical point of his life, so Shuki is familiar with the Orthodox traditions, and I think he's always wearing a hat. So I don't know about his level of keeping mitzvot, but he was brought up as an Orthodox Jew. At a certain key point of his life, he started touring America and touring and exploring his Native American heritage. And he found out, and he wrote a book on this called Split Feather, that a lot of Native American tribes have customs that are extremely similar to Jewish customs, traditions. And it is interesting. The founding fathers of the United States believed that the Native Americans were the lost tribes of Israel, or some of them were.
Well, that's when the diaspora, we all spread out.
We all spread out.
It's like the lines of the cube had to reach all ends of the earth to have the light penetrate. And so we touched and connected with many people, and there was assimilation. There was a lot of things happening. But we can find traces of the 12 tribes everywhere.
We discussed over the phone that there are millions, apparently, in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Large number of people,
right?
Tribes that know that we're from the tribe of Benjamin, or
Menashe in China.
What?
The tribe of Menashe in China.
I don't even know about that. Also in India, in Burma, some are coming back, and so. So what is my point here? My point here is this 12 tribes is something which is very connected to all of humanity.
For sure. It's interesting, when we left Egypt and Israel as 12 tribes, we left in a formation, and there was the North Camp, the East Camp, South and West Camp. The North Camp was led by Dan. It was Dan, Asher, and Naphtali.
Okay.
And each camp had a different, like Don's symbol was the eagle.
Yes, the eagle is also connected.
Yeah, so eagle is connected with Don. And what's interesting is, like, the United States, the eagle is a big symbol in the United States. And my theory is that the tribe of Dan that settled in the north of Israel during the diaspora went through Europe and then over to America. And
which would explain Denmark.
Yeah,
and they have a tradition, don't they, the Danes, that they are connected with the tribe of Dan.
There is a tradition, yeah.
Like the Welsh.
And the harp, the Celtic harp. There's an oral tradition that they got the harp from the tribe of Dan.
Okay.
And it's interesting because I play the harp.
Yes, you do.
And so it made it another connection that I felt. There's a lot of reasons why I feel connected, but that was another connection. And the last year I was writing this book, The 12 Dimensions of Israel. I traveled to each of the Nachalot. Each tribe was giving a different portion of Israel. So I went to the each one has a different healing energy.
Yes.
So I went to the like for instance, Yehuda is connected with the month of Nisan, which is around April. It's time of Pesach.
What people know is the tribe of Judah.
Judah, and his inheritance is in Gedi, near the Dead Sea.
Yes.
So I went there and I, meditated, drove the park rangers crazy. I was there every day,
and here we are.
And I came up with paintings.
This is you.
Paintings and poetry and music. I heart tape, like with a tune for each tribe.
What's the name of the CD?
It's called The 12 Dimensions of Israel.
Show
Heart music.
Is there a picture connected to it?
Well, actually, yeah.
Show them the picture.
It's a harp with the stated, like with the Israel inside the harp. Israel's inside the harp, and
okay, I was King David.
And then there's the world above it, and there's notes coming from each of the nachalot, each of the land
in front of the light, in front of that little light.
Oh, okay. So there's like little heart notes coming from each parts of the land of Israel, and it's the music coming from Israel is harmonizing the whole world. The whole world is below there, and so that's the.
Of course, it makes sense that the harp is connected to the territory.
The CD.
The territory. Yes, show it all.
It's funny. I have to get used to doing this.
Yes, you do.
I've been hiding and writing for years.
It's time to get out there. Absolutely. So again, show us this picture.
Okay, so this.
Wait, I just wanted to say, tribe of Judah. Of course, that's the tribe of King David.
Right.
And they are the traditional leaders of the tribes, of the 12 tribes.
Right.
Judah is the lion. And
now, actually, this is an offshoot of the core painting. The core painting, all the core paintings of the 12 dimensions have the land inheritance in the background, and then they are framed by the passages in the Torah about the tribe, like you see there, and which is the revealed level of the Torah, what you can read in the Old Testament in Hebrew. Okay. And then on top of
right before the light.
And so that's the revealed Torah, which is connected to this lowest sphere of Malchut, which is connected with the land. Kingship. And it's connected with revealed reality. And the land is revealed reality. We see it, right?
Yes.
Then on top of that, there's the more esoteric information about the dimension. And in this one, each dimension is, and each month is created through the energy of a specific Hebrew letter. And in Nisan, the month connected with Yehuda, it's the letter Hey. And so I have the letter Hey here, and it's filled with other information that is also more esoteric. The different permutations of God names that's connected with it, it's connected with the right leg. There's a lot to say about what that means spiritually, because when we want to heal any part of our body, we have to get to the spiritual level of that part of the body.
Yes, the spiritual function.
The spiritual
of
function.
The organ.
Exactly. Right. So I do healing with that. It's very fascinating. It's such a way of revealing yourself to yourself, your soul to yourself. Anyway, so here's the Lion of Yehuda here. Here's a crown. Here's the Engedi. And then, again,
there is this waterfall by the Dead Sea.
Right.
The lowest place on earth.
Right.
Friends.
So the hay superimposed on the hay and all what's inside the letter hay represents the higher sephirot, and the malchut, the land, which receives the light from the higher sephirot. The intention of the paintings, as I was painting them, was to make these yichudim, these unifications between the higher worlds and the lower worlds, because that's really, in essence, what redemption is making unifications. We're here to make unifications between the higher world and the lower world.
Let me see the picture of you sitting by again.
Okay, so now that was a small picture. Now this is another version.
Yes.
But this actually, takes a little more explaining. But this is actually, I went in the next month, the month of ER, when during the counting of the Omer, it's like in the time of of Nisan, we all like become, royal. We're like becoming from slavery to who we really are, the princes and princess. The month of Passover. So here we like leave with our crowns, and then the next month of ER, we're sitting and we're integrating the light of the crown into our bodies. So all the sephirot are in her body. And she's purifying her hesed, her ability to give in the right way.
Yes.
Love and kindness. Gevura, the left arm, she's
strength.
We're rectifying all the meter. We're
rectifying all of
our attributes, of our character qualities.
Yeah.
Because that's what, it doesn't matter if, when you get to the next world, it doesn't matter if you were the greatest artist. I mean, it's good to, or the greatest writer. It's like, were you a good person? It's more important than all that.
You betcha.
We're doing this to serve Hashem, and we have to use our talents to serve Hashem.
Hashem meaning the name.
The name, God, one God.
The Jews say Hashem for God. Mostly they say Hashem.
Right. Because it's
the name.
We're very careful how we pronounce this. God has many, many names, and we can't just say them just randomly. We'd say them in prayer or in serious study. We don't just like throw out the name.
Right.
Words are sacred. So, what was I saying? I was saying too much.
No, about what's here.
So we're
Nisan, and then we become.
Then it comes from the hay. It's the vav, which reflects the spine,
Indeed.
And we're bringing the light of crown, of Keter, down through. And the numerical value of vav is 6, and what is 6? 6 sides of the cube. So we're expanding that light to go in throughout all of the parts of our body. Okay, so she's sitting here meditating, bringing the light of crown from Yehuda and Engedi into her being, doing her internal work, and that's what the following month of ER is, which is about May.
Which is about what?
The month of May is when you're really internalizing that light.
So you would go in this area in exactly that time of the year,
right?
And you would go to the area of Dan in exactly. The right month connected to Dan, and so on and so forth. Right,
but this time I went a month later to Engedi to bring the two dimensions together.
Okay.
You understand? So this is a sample of Zvulun. Zvulun is the Zvulun within us is the ability to go out into the world in the right way. First, we want to become kings and freedom to be first, we have to know who we are as princes and princesses. We put our right foot forward and know who we are.
Sit down more. Just come.
Sit down.
You're fine. Just open it up.
Okay. So there's a whole progress of spiritual work here through going through the whole year, which I teach
okay.
So it's a whole thing to go through.
I'm going through all the archetypes.
Yeah.
Because if each archetype is connected to a month, when you go through a year, you're connecting with each of the 12.
Right. And so that balances your body, your energies, and makes you really clear and whole. So the following month would be Sivan, which is connected with the tribe of Zvulun, and actually it happens to be that Sivan was formed through the energy of the letter Zion. So this is called the dancing Zion. And Zvulun is connected with the left leg, which propels us into life, we're into action. So, and it's the Zvulun were the merchants, the businessmen. They were able to make parnasa, money, in order to support Yisachar, who was a Torah scholar. I mean, there's a lot to say.
Yisachar is another tribe. So Zebulun was the merchants.
Right.
Yes?
And he went out to sea.
Zvulun.
So I hung around the sea a lot to get these paintings and
the
poetry.
Okay.
Because Zvulun was connected with the rhythms of the sea and going out, and it says that the peoples of the world were so impressed with how Zvulun conducted business, because they did it according to the laws of the Torah, that they would want to come to Israel to learn more about their teachings.
Okay.
That's what Israel's about, is to be a light, a beacon. So people say, yes, this is the way you do it. This is how you deal with each other, with material things.
Now, unfortunately, what happens in the world sometimes is the exact opposite. There are Jews who are materialists and have been totally cut off from spirituality, and and you need to really watch
So then
out
they,
for those people.
yeah, right. So, but the thing is, we're trying to, I guess maybe an ideal is to see if we're, the ideal is that we're penetrated with the teachings of the
That
Torah.
is, yes, indeed.
This is a lot of work.
You bet.
How many people are willing to drop everything to come to Israel and just learn Torah? It's not so easy.
Or even come to Israel and live.
Yeah.
How many people are...
And even to visit.
Yeah, or even to visit.
At this point.
Yes.
It's
a time of some troubles, friend.
right.
But then...
But we have to have the
like
faith to go through and say, listen, this is our, like you have to have faith to walk out of your house today,
What?
You have to
Yes.
have faith to
Yes.
walk out of your house.
Anywhere, in any big city in the world, actually.
Right.
Compared to some American big cities, Israel is pretty safe.
Right.
So anyway,
Okay. So
I love this one. This one thrills me. Actually,
this is the cover of the first book, and it's the Shechina.
She is
The
Kala, the bride. She is the feminine side of God. Is she?
Yeah, she's our souls.
Our souls.
Our collective soul.
Can you see the bride dressed in white?
Yeah, and she's filled with words, Hebrew letters, of all the
wow.
different tribes and all the different dimensions, all the different facets of the 12 dimensions, all the different secrets. And she's going and claiming the land of Israel with, she's coming back home. She's connecting to make that centrifugal energy that will bring light and love and healing to the whole world.
Okay, amen.
So she's coming to, like there's the Reuven and Gad, all the different tribes.
The different tribes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a map showing the lands of the different tribes.
Right.
Also, it's many, many things. Your pictures are multi-coded and very strong.
Thank you. So, there's a lot to learn here. In a short time, it takes a long time to read these books. To really get all of the teachings from the books. More than just an hour or so.
But you can read it in many ways. You could read them like The Princess of Dawn. It's a great story.
Mm-hmm.
It's an inspiring story, and you could also go back and dive deeper into it. I've only read one of the books so far,
right.
Most of it.
One of the intentions is that it goes beyond just Israel. It goes to everybody because I would like this book to be read by everybody,
yes.
from every discipline, because it's a true authentic journey, and it's from love, and it's from truth. It's from real human struggle. It's from wanting to become who we're meant to be,
yes.
which we're all, to be. Dignified human beings is what God wants of us to bring the awareness, divine awareness, into everything we say, do, and think.
Nechama Sarah, I'd say you do a good job of that, and also of living up to your name. And
we all have work.
Yes, that's for sure.
That's why we're here.
But this has been very exciting for me.
Amazing.
The book has been a very deep, powerful experience. I recommend everybody get the book. We will show your email address.
If you want to email me, I can give you the websites to buy for purchasing any of the paintings that appear, over 100 paintings in the book at very reasonable prices, and they come with explanations. Okay, so
you have a website, yes?
I have a website, and then Menorah Books, who published this, are selling all three of my books.
Okay.
And then Etsy, ETSY, is another website that's selling my paintings.
Okay. ETSY. We'll write down all of this stuff. I'll have to get your...
but if you have any trouble connecting with these websites, just email me, and I will be happy to send you.
What is your email address? Do you want to give it out?
NSG, like Nechama Sarah Gila.
Okay, yes.
TAOZ is like Moshav I lived in right before where I'm living now on my Nachala.
All right, the Moshav is the area.
TAOZ.
TAOZ.
At yahoo.com.
Very good.
Okay, strudel, as I say in Hebrew. Strudelyahoo.com.
Yeah, we Jews, we like our food. So we call at strudel, but it doesn't go like that. Okay, it's been a real pleasure.
I've really enjoyed I could just go on and on talking to you because it's just very enlightening, and I appreciate you taking time to explore the works of my soul. And
okay. Amen, that many people will get to them. That many, many people.
God willing.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Also, the distributor Geffen is distributing my books all over. You can
When you say all over, do you mean in the U.S. too?
Also U.S.
Okay.
You can get them on Amazon. You can get ebooks on Amazon.
Oh, wonderful.
For the Princess of Dawn. Also Barnes and Nobles. You can request the hard copy from Barnes and Nobles. I don't think they're on the shelf yet. I hope they will be. It's Dimetsky's here in Israel. And I don't know all the stores, but there's a lot of stores that will be carrying The Princess of Dawn and along with the other two books. But if you have any trouble finding them, just be in touch with nsgtaoz@yahoo.com. And I'll be happy to refer you to the right websites or whatever you need. Again, for the art, for the music, for the books. And I also have retreats, country retreats, part of the Princess of Dawn is the journey to finding my true place in Eretz Israel, in Israel, where I believe every soul has their specific place where they can serve God the deepest way they can. And there's a midrash that says Abraham and Sarah, when they walked across the land of Israel, they whispered the name of all their descendants, and that spot is where they whispered your name is your place. So I heard my name. Story. Yeah, yes. I heard my name where I live. Thank God, it's a big blessing. I merit to stay there.
Yeah.